The cloud command that's found on the Tools drop-down menu can be used to draw ground cover. The first prompt says start point. The next prompt says where's the midpoint of the arc, and then where's the end point of the arc, and you can see the arc bending. So I can come along here like so, another midpoint, another end point, another midpoint, another end point, midpoint, end point, midpoint, end point, and maybe one more, and then I need to close it, and I'll use the O snap to end, and we've drawn a symbol that will work as a ground cover area. Now we would, in future versions of gCADPlus, we'd hope to get that tool to close and make a closed polyline. So I have to go around and select all parts of the cloud and then join them. Now we have an area. Don't forget, you can edit things quite easily once the polyline is selected. Just tweak it by moving things in to get the sort of shape that you are after, and then it could have a color, and then it could have a fill. So we'd say it's closed, have a fill, and we could give a transparency maybe of about 1/3, and then unselect all. So there's a quick and relatively easy way to indicate ground cover. If you'd like it to stand out a little more, select it and say it's going to have a border, and that the border color will say 251, and now that shows quite nicely. You can see I didn't quite get it right in this zone here, so we could hot link that one and then come across here and put it there to fix up my little error. Well, now we have the area for ground cover in the design, so we want to label it, and for that gCADPlus has a ground cover tool. So we're going to make a ground cover where the prompt says pick the closed boundary line, and up pops this box. The first thing we want to do is identify the species we're going to use. So up pops our GCP file, and we can scroll down here through our list and see there's our ground cover species, and I'm looking for well, let's take one that's known to most of us, Geranium roseanne. We'll take that one and we'll go OK. Now for an abbreviation we'll type ROGE. So we go OK. In here we'll go GRORO. Our plant spacing, we might set that at say 18 inches. This is a design for the US, and I've changed all of my unit settings appropriately, and we can say OK. We're now asked to input the first point on a leader, so we keep them lined up and do this. And now what height do we want the text leader to be? 0.8. This is an example from the US, so that's about the right height. So the tool calculates the number of Geranium roseanne plants that are needed to fill this area at a spacing of 18 inches. So we hope that you'll find that quite a useful tool. One thing to note, let's escape from there, is that the tool creates its own dimension style. So if we have a look here and list, as well as the standard dimension style, there's now one called gCoverDim, and we can set the geometry and the text style appropriately to get the effect that you see here. Well, I've added another ground cover symbol and assigned it to the blue rug Juniper horizontalis, and now we want to draw a little schedule. The codes don't give us enough information to easily determine what species is being used there, certainly not for your client. But if we pick gCADPlus, go down to ground cover and draw the schedule, we can just input our first point and input our second, and in goes the schedule. And you can see the botanical name and common name are listed there, and the total number of plants that are required based on our spacing distance are there. In both instances here, I didn't stamp the area with a block. The tool is capable of putting a circle with a 2 in it, and then a circle with a 3 in it, and you can use those in the centre of the ground cover areas if you want.